Kakabhushundi arrived under the banyan tree, mentally invoked Sri Ram, and then opening his eyes, he looked questioningly at Garuda. Garuda said, "Oh Kakabhushundi, I told you in the last session how I got deluded and how, thanks to that delusion, I was sent here to listen to this story from you. So now I want to ask you whether you too have ever come under the sway of delusion. Did that ever happen to you in your very long life?" "Yes," said Kakabhushundi, "I too once got deluded." The moment Kakabhushundi said that, there were expressions of amazement from everyone. All the birds, and most of all Garuda, were astonished that even great and wise people like Kakabhushundi could come under Maya's spell. Kakabhushundi confessed that he had never spoken of his delusion to anyone, but that he was now happy to do so, and he began his story. Creating such a delusion in a devotee's mind is typical of Sri Ram, and he does so to ensure that pride does not stick to his devotee. As soon as the devotee becomes arrogant about something, Bhagwan quickly puts an end to it. He does so out of great love for his devotee, because pride is what causes the greatest sorrow in the world. There is a second reason too why Bhagwan sometimes deludes a devotee, and that is when he wants to strengthen the devotee's love. "And that is what happened to me," said Kakabhushundi. "I have already told you that I am specially fond of Sri Ram in his form as a little child, the Balaram form, and that is the form that I always worship. I have also told you that the Ram avatar does not happen just once. It takes place in different kalpas, and each time the Ram avatar happens in Ayodhya, I arrive in the city and remain there until Sri Ram reaches the age of 5. So many times I have done that, and I would watch the little Ram crawling about, sometimes standing up and extending his hands with some morsels of food for me. When I would advance to peck at it, Ram would run away and start laughing. If I flew too far away, the little Ram would start crying. Once, while watching this Leela of Balaram, a doubt arose in my mind whether this really was Bhagwan, the Paramatma. Just then, the little Ram began to approach me in the courtyard with his outstretched hands to catch hold of me, but I slowly moved away. But the further I moved away, the more Balaram came after me with his outstretched hand. After running away from little Ram's grasp for what appeared to me a very long time, I reached Brahmalok. But even there, the little Ram was pursuing me with his outstretched hand. Whenever I turned around and looked back, he was just a 2-finger distance away from me. And yet, for all the others present in Raja Dashrath's courtyard, the little Ram appeared to be playing as usual. Seeing that outstretched little hand constantly behind me caused me so much distress that I closed my eyes. A little while later, when I opened them, I found myself in the same courtyard in Ayodhya with little Ram. He looked at me and laughed, and instantly I disappeared into his mouth. In the Lord's stomach, I beheld countless Brahmans, countless cosmoses, all with 14 lokas each. I saw all kinds of jivas that I had never heard about or seen, each one more wonderful than the other. And I felt confused about whether these Brahmans were outside or inside Sri Ram. I spent 100 years in each Brahmand or cosmos, and I cannot say how many there were, how many Ayodhyas there were, and how many Raja Dashrats and Kausalya Devis there were. What struck me, though, was that they were all distinct from each other. But Sri Ram was always one and the same. In every Brahman that I spent time, the Ram avatar was underway. Seeing all this, my head went into a whirl. I could not make sense of anything, and I lost all track of time. Then, having wandered around, I finally arrived at my own ashram here, where I stayed for a while. Then I heard that Sri Ram was born, and once again I set off for Ayodhya to witness the celebrations. There I once again set eyes on Sri Ram, the master of Maya, and I wondered whether I was inside him or outside. Where was I seeing all this? I felt most distraught. Unable to restrain myself, I fell at Sri Ram's feet, calling out to him to protect me, for I was utterly bewildered. I could not make sense of anything. At the same time, I was also flooded with great bliss, having seen the divine glory of Sri Ram with my own eyes. More than anything else, I was seeing the great love Bhagwan had for his devotees. That moved me and inspired me an even deeper love for Bhagwan. When I fell at his feet, I saw that Sri Ram was very pleased with me. He offered me any boon of my choice, knowledge, special powers, moksha, and so on. But I only wanted unbroken, ceaseless devotion for the Lord. The kind of devotion that is referred to as aviral bhakti. It is the kind of devotion that eminent yogis seek, but which is only attained by the grace of Bhagwan himself. And when I asked for that, Bhagwan said, Tatha astu, so be it. And he granted me my heart's desire. Then he also said that Maya would no longer have any effect on me. In addition, he blessed me with all the noble virtues, enlightenment, and a complete understanding of the deeper meanings of all the divine stories. He also told me that I would have no difficulty in immersing my mind in whatever I chose to do. So you see, said Kakabhushundi, this kind of Maya that Bhagwan cast over me was not the grief-causing Maya. It was the Maya that Bhagwan uses to strengthen the love of his devotee. What Bhagwan does is that for a short while, he hides his supremacy from the devotee, so that the devotee then looks upon Bhagwan as his or her child, friend, and so on, and loves him. Bhagwan, on his part, keeps strengthening that love. That was the kind of Maya that Sri Ram cast over me. And the 2-finger distance which I always saw behind me during my delusion was the notions of I and mine which separate us from the divine. There was a look of wonderment in Garuda's eyes and in those of all the other birds as they gazed at Kakabhushundi. Then Garuda quickly asked whether Kakabhushundi would give him some more time the next day, for his questions had still not got over. Kakabhushundi graciously agreed, And with that, the evening satsang came to a close.